The city of Albuquerque was recently named a 2030 district. If you care about climate change or sustainable development, you'll want to hear more about this new designation. Now, New Mexico's largest city joins others around the country like Denver, Seattle, and Pittsburgh that are already signed on as 2030 districts. And our producer, Sarah Gustavus, finds out what that means.
Holly Carey, Program Manager for the Albuquerque 2030 District. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for the opportunity to be here today.
Most of our viewers probably have not heard of these 2030 districts. Why should they care?
Well, I'm going to go back a little bit and give you a little history about Architecture 2030. So back in 2002, there was a visionary architect by the name of Ed Mazria who started really doing a lot of research on climate change. And what he discovered was that it's in the architecture, that the building sector uses 75% of all the electricity that's produced in the United States. And the United States in the CO2 emissions, building stock is responsible for 45% of that as well. So he saw the building sector as a problem, but he also saw the building sector as the opportunity and the solution. Because by the year 2035, 75% of all the building stock in the United States will either be new or be completely renovated. So in this next 20-year time span, we have an opportunity to really work with architects and work with the building sector to really offset dangerous climate change. So basically what he did was he set up districts. He goes to the urban core of cities and he sets up basically like a geographical boundary in the urban core to have collaboration between different partnerships.
Now, this is coming from the private sector. A lot of times we talk about addressing climate change, we talk about environmental decisions, we think about elected officials. This is really unique that private businesses are going to be leading in this local district to address these issues in their buildings and plan for the future.
So Albuquerque's been doing a lot of innovative and resource reduction projects, but it's been done on an individual basis, building by building. And so creating a district in Albuquerque allows them to voluntarily, it's not mandated or legislated, so definitely it's not led by the public, it's led on the private sector. They voluntarily come together to share common goals, common metrics, to create a collaborative network of sharing best practices. So these individuals get to say what worked and what didn't work in their facilities. They get to come together collaboratively in a district to talk about future improvements and challenges to that. And so what you start to see is you start to see efficiencies of scale. And so that's why it's really awesome that it is privately led.
And efficiencies of scale, we're talking about reducing carbon emissions, reducing water usage. Who's helping businesses get the information they need to move forward on that?
Well, that's basically what that is. So our performance targets are the same as every other district around the world, right? We have to do carbon reduction, water reduction, and also energy use reduction, okay? And so they come together, and we have professional service providers that will help support that. We have public stakeholders that come together and support the private sector as well. And then we also have community stakeholders. And so all of them together, we create an information sharing platform that has educational seminars. We have networking events. We're going to be doing case studies. CNM and UNM have come on board to create everything back into an educational platform to support that private sector in learning how to move forward.
Who are some of the partners right now in the public sector?
In the public sector, we have Downtown Albuquerque Main Street. We have Mid-Region Council of Governments. We have New Mexico Association of Energy Engineers. We have Public Service Company of New Mexico. And we have Urban Land Institute of New Mexico. So we have 5 really strong founding public partners at this point.
Anything that Albuquerque can learn from the districts that have already been identified before us, Seattle, Denver, Dallas, or lessons going to be shared between the cities?
Absolutely. That's the beautiful thing. It's a global conversation, but it's led at a grassroots level. And so what happens is when partnerships or properties come together in the district, they get to have shared resources, they get to have shared funding streams. So we're going to be able to allow a lot of funding that's going to happen within the district. There's going to be national buying power, and anything that's happening in the other districts they have access to. So we have an entire membership portfolio that comes together when you join. So definitely, and we're also allowed on a local level to add goals or targets that we identify specifically in Albuquerque, meaning Albuquerque is the first desert district. We're the first blighted district. We have a lot of, we have a very high vacancy rate downtown in those areas. And so one of the things that we've done locally is we've added economic development increase as one of our goals, which means that we're going to be putting everything back into redevelopment of our urban core so that these properties can lay a sustainable foundation for Albuquerque's future generations.
Even though it's being led by the private sector, is there a way that elected officials, different administrations can support it, can help this move forward more quickly maybe?
Oh, absolutely, they can. Yeah, I mean, and a lot of things can happen. They can work together as a team to look at policy changes within the district. I know the city is definitely on board and supporting this district. There's a lot of innovation that's happening throughout the Albuquerque area. I mean, you have the bike share program, you have Innovate ABQ, you have all of these different entities downtown Albuquerque Main Street, and we're all coming together to collaboratively to be able to lift up and redevelop our urban core. So absolutely, anybody that's in legislation, whether it's local government or anybody, can definitely participate in helping bring this together.
I think a lot of people sometimes think of Albuquerque as being very far behind on things, very far behind on development, very far behind on new ideas. Mm-hmm. How do you think that we can maybe lead the way in the future on this climate change issue? How are we uniquely situated to be an example and a leader in this area?
Well, as of Monday, April 27th, we signed as the 10th district in the world to create that conversation. And I think being the first desert district, I think we have a lot to share in regards to water savings. I think we have a lot of opportunities to be the leading force and the leading district to bring other desert districts into the conversation. And I think sometimes Albuquerque doesn't give itself enough credit for all of the innovations that have really been happening, and I think that happens because we haven't really ever created a sharing informational platform. And so that's really what this district is going to be about. It's going to be about bringing all of the innovations, all the PhDs and all the technical expertise, and bringing it into this district and then sharing it. Even maybe outside of the district, sharing all the wonderful things that Albuquerque's been doing and lift us up. I know we've had some struggles and some things have started and not necessarily made it, all the way through in their commitments, but we're creating a new vision.
How can businesses get involved?
Basically, you mean on an individual basis or as a property owner?
As a property owner.
Okay, as a property owner, we have a very simple commitment letter. Basically, what we ask property owners to do is to share their building use, their energy use, their water use, and their transportation data. But the awesome thing is that it's shared anonymously, meaning that we don't look at individual buildings and say, okay, here's the targets for 2030, and if you don't make it, there's going to be repercussions for that. It's based on a district level, so all of that information is shared anonymously, and it's brought into the district and aggregated as a district total, and then as a district we move forward. So if they're willing to share their energy use, water use, and transportation data anonymously, share their best practices, share what they've been doing, share the lessons learned, what worked, what didn't, look at future opportunities and future struggles within the district, and that's really what we ask. We ask them just to have a collaborative conversation within the other building owners, and as they upgrade their buildings, it also increases the value in everything else that's in downtown. So, yes, it will create a competitive edge for them, but it also lifts all of the urban core up with it. So.
Albuquerque is a large city. Do you hope that some of these practices will expand beyond what's been designated as a 2030 district?
Absolutely. Really, this conversation could be, I have had many people that said we're not going to make it inside of your district boundary, because you do have to set a geographical boundary, and it can't be so large that you can't manage it, but it has to be large enough that it's going to make an impact. And so there are individuals, we even have some properties that are outside of the district, and I said, you can have the same conversation, set the same goals, look at the 2030 goals and set that as a goal that you want for your property. And I think the conversation can go throughout all of Albuquerque. I wish that we could have all of Albuquerque be the 2030 district, but that's a little large, so.
Well, thank you for joining us at this point as you're getting started as an official 2030 district,
Yes.
and we'll check in with you again in the future.
Thank you so much for the opportunity.